Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We are just going live on Facebook. So if you can just bear with me for a little bit while we get the stream over. Page. Oops. This is live. Okay, and we are live. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our webinar tonight. We have two very special women who are going to be telling us their story and encouraging all of us. So this webinar is not only to encourage patients, but also caregivers, because I think often the caregivers are not forgotten about, but they aren't recognized for all the amazing care that they give. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to introduce our speakers, and we have Julianne and Vesta here. So first up, Vesta is going to be speaking to us. She is, oh, sorry, no, Julianne is going first. Sorry, that was my letter. Julianne is going first, and Julianne has been very petite her entire life. And then about 15 years ago, she started putting on weight and really felt tired, irritable, and battling with her concentration. She started to sweat excessively and went to see a specialist physician who tested her thyroid function. It was found out that she has hypothyroid and that the cause was related to the pituitary gland as well as the thyroid. After an MRI, it was found that she also had a microadenoma on her pituitary gland. And so Julianne really has a beautiful story to share with us. And so I'm going to mute myself and stop my video. And Julianne, over to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi there. Hi. Good, so I can go ahead with the story. Hey? Yeah, so once MRI spotted the pituitary tumor, it was felt it was not really functioning or doing anything to my body, that it was just really affecting my thyroid and that everything was okay. But over time, like I said, my feet started increasing in size, my hands, my jaw, and so on. So I actually Googled what would make your feet grow bigger, what would make your would it just be weight gain? Why would that happen? And I came across something called acromegaly. And I thought, well, that kind of fits with what I've got. So I went to my endocrinologist and I said, I think I might have this. And he kind of laughed at me. He said, that's very rare and that's not you, because those people are disfigured. So I kind of thought, okay. And I went back home and I really, really thought about it. And I thought, no, this is me. I feel like I'm going to go and ask somebody else. And I went for a second opinion and I took a bag of shoes with me. Because I said to the second endocrinologist that I went to see, I have to show you my shoes. My shoes don't fit me anymore. And I don't think it's just because my feet have got fat. So the endocrinologist, she was very understanding and she said, well, we'll test you. Let's see, let's test it out. So she sent me for a test, a growth hormone, an IGF test, which is insulin-like growth factor, which is affected by your growth hormone. And that came back extremely high. In fact, the pathologist phoned her at home to tell her that the figure. And then it also has to be tested with an oral glucose tolerance test, and that is the definitive test for acromegaly. So she sent me for that, and that also came back positive. So I was diagnosed with acromegaly, which is caused by an excess of growth hormone from the pituitary gland. It causes your extremities to grow, jaw to grow, feet, hands, your skull, internal organs, affect your colon, polyps in the colon, can affect your heart, high blood pressure, etc. Can also cause diabetes. So it's good that it's controlled and that you have medication. So I was given medication to start off with. Things didn't improve too much. So I had surgery in 2015 to remove the adenoma from the pituitary gland. They do it through your nose, transsphenoidal. And unfortunately, they weren't able to remove everything, so I didn't go into remission. But it's controlled through medication, an injection called sandostatin, which is once every 8 weeks. The injection is quite expensive. I think because it's not available to many people, so it costs probably about 18,000 Rand, depending on how much your dosage. But fortunately, I've been very fortunate that my medical aid is paying for it. So yeah, I've been on that medication for about 5 years, so it is under control at the moment. I'm not growing anymore. So that's my little story of how I got diagnosed and where I am now.
That is absolutely amazing. So you fought for what you knew about your body. And I think that's ultimately, we know our bodies better than anyone else, and better than what any doctor could tell us or what anyone else on the outside could say to us. And I think it's so amazing and so important that you went back for a second opinion, and you went with like the proof of your shoes, and the fact that you knew that things were changing and you needed answers. How did your family take it when you got your diagnosis and before you had your diagnosis?
I think they were always very, very supportive. I think it was nice to have them to speak to, because before I went for my diagnosis, I said there's something wrong with me and I don't know what it is. And sort of difficult. You often think you're imagining it, maybe you're a bit of a hypochondriac, because nothing is visible, but definitely could feel something is wrong. But I think my family was very supportive. Yeah, I also did research on it to find out what it was all about, because it was quite rare. I think I appreciated the fact that they also did research and found out more about it. And also, interestingly, that because it can be familial, it can run in your family. So I think it was also, my sister also went for a test to see if she also perhaps had it. So I think, yeah, that's also pretty good, for your family, if it can be genetics, that they also get tested.
Absolutely. And then she wouldn't have to go through the battles that you went through because she got tested before the time. Yeah. We've just got a question that's come through from Fiona, and it says, thank you so much for your story. Please, can you elaborate on your journey getting your medication approved by medical aid?
Okay, so it was quite a story. I don't know if I can, my medical aid was, well, I think very supportive in that they tried their best to see how they could pay it, because if I understand correctly, it's acromegaly is on the prescribed minimum benefits, but the medication is not on the formulary. So because the condition can cause cancer, the medical aid pays for the medication from my oncology benefit. So we went that route. So I must admit they were very, very helpful. And by going through the oncology route, they've paid for it. I do have to motivate and have MRIs every year, submit my tests and everything. But so far they've been very supportive, and they've paid it out of that part of the medical aid benefits.
That is fantastic. And it's good that, who helped you with realizing that you could get it through your oncology benefit? Was it your doctor or was it your medical aid?
The medical aid, yeah.
Yeah.
Because after first, I think, turned it down, I phoned them, and then we looked that it was on the formulary. And I must say, they were very helpful, and they came back with because I think they first of all said I could apply perhaps for that I didn't have enough money, and that's out of almost like a unique case. But before it went to that, they discussed it and came back with the oncology benefit suggestion.
That is fantastic. And it's nice to know that they do actually want to help us and they want to support us. I think medical aids often get a lot of flack, But when you hear stories like yours where they're helping you to get your treatment, it's really amazing, and it's something that we should celebrate.
Yeah.
I would love to know from you, Julie, what is something positive that's come out of your diagnosis or having a rare condition? What is something positive that's come into your life?
I think probably a more understanding of sort of everybody else that's got a rare disease, or maybe a disease that's not really like, you know, people often say to you, you don't look sick. But because you don't look sick, it doesn't mean you're not sick. So I think it's helped me to appreciate other people as well, what they're going through. And I also think just being able to make people aware of a disease as rare of this. I think that I think many people, especially with this disease, feel that like the doctor said to me, but those people are disfigured. But you don't wake up overnight in one morning and you're disfigured. It's an insidious process that happens. So I think what I'd like also to make people aware of is that it can be an insidious process, that it's not always obvious. It takes place over time. So it's good to make people aware of a disease like that, that it doesn't just, you don't just wake up one morning with looking like a giant, because it can, you know, that's what it does cause, is gigantism. But so, yeah.
Fantastic. Judy, we're going to come back to you just now with a few more questions. Vesta, I'm going to spotlight you now, and it's going to be your turn to tell your story. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, you are still on mute, so if I can ask you to unmute yourself, and then begin telling your story. I think it's really amazing that we've got two ladies that are willing to come and tell their story, because I think it is something that's very scary, and you can be afraid of the stigma that surrounds this. I'm just, getting to Vesta's information to share a little bit more about her. So Vesta is 59, and she was diagnosed at the age of 50, but for 10 years she was going from pillar to post to find out what was wrong with her. And she was diagnosed on the 22nd of December, 2010, and she was medically boarded from her job 7 years ago. So she's going to tell us a little bit more about her life journey. So Vesta, over to you.
Good evening, everybody. Like Julianne, I was also running from in my case, I was running from this doctor to this doctor. I went for a sinal flush, and I didn't realize that I was getting bigger, but I had terrible headaches, and my GP used to inject me with 3 stuff, and then he said, just go home and go lie down. And then he sent me to a very well-known neurologist in Pretoria East Hospital, and he said, there's nothing to worry about. It's only it's your nerves. You always worry. It's nothing else. And he did a CT scan and it showed nothing. And then a year after that, my GP said to me, Vesta, you must go back. We can't carry on like this. And I said, you read what the other doctor said. And I said, I don't feel like going. He said, but I'm forcing you now to go. And that was on the 13th of March, 2011, actually, not 2010. And I went to him and he said, but I've seen you before. We know that it's only your nerves and you will live with it your entire life. And there's nothing we can do for you. So he said, but seeing that we did the CT scan and it showed nothing a year ago. Let's do an MRI. And while I was lying on the bed with the MRI, I could from the sister that was standing there by me, I could realize that something was really wrong, because she started to rub my arm up and down, and then she took me out and she said, "Are you still good?" I said, "Yes, I'm fine." And then she said to me, "The radiologist just wants another look. If you can just lie for another 5 minutes, will it be okay with you?" I said, "It's fine. I'll lie." Came out there. Sorry, I've just had a bad cold. Came out there. I waited for the results. I went back to the doctor, the neurologist upstairs, and he said to me, "Oh, well, okay, you've got an adenoma." And then I came home. Oh, and then he says, "Yeah, the Lancet form, go and have a growth hormone test." Then I went to the Lancet laboratory, and they said, "That's a fasting test. You can't have it done now. You can only do it tomorrow." I went back to the neurologist. He said, "Okay, well then go and have it at wherever you stay." So I took the form, and I went to my hometown, and we tested it, and it was high. And then my doctor referred me to a neurosurgeon. I never saw an endocrinologist. I never even thought of anything serious. I just thought, oh, well, that's why I'm having the headaches. And from there, that was on the 13th of March. And the 13th of April, they did a hypo, the same as Julianne had. I can't say that in English. But they took my growth hormone and they said, "Okay, it's 5 now, you're fine, you're okay." So from there, I was okay for 6 months. When I woke up, I looked into this doctor's eyes and I said to him, "You know what? This pressure that I'm having in my head is gone." And he said, "Yeah, you will be okay from now on." I said, "Fine." And I was in hospital for 2 days and I came home. And 6 months later, I went back to him. I said to him, "Doctor, it's back." He said, "Can't be." And he started treating me with Tramadol. So I was drinking pain pills for a very long time, because all he was doing was prescribing pain medication. And then I met a girl in a neighborhood town, and she had the same problem, but she already has seen an endocrinologist and she's been with a neurosurgeon. She had her operation in August and I had mine in April. So she could have helped me a lot with what is going on. And she gave me the name of an endocrinologist at the Donald Gordon Wits Medical Faculty. I went to see her. I said to her, "I've already had the operation, and that I still have these terrible headaches. And she sat me down. My mom and my son, my eldest son, went with, and she said, well, there's three options. The one option, you already had, so we had to cross that out. Then the second option was the medication, the sandostatin. And the third option was radiology. So I was prescribed to go to the Lancet laboratory and have the glucose test. And then on the 22nd of December, I was sitting in my car in front of my mom's house, and a SMS came through from my doctor, from my endocrinologist, and she said, Fester, you have been diagnosed with acromegaly. We were going to have a family weekend. My granddaughter was just born, and it was a happy time for the family because we don't see them that often. They stay in Cape Town, and we were all going to a game farm. So I just act normally for the time of the on the farm, and then it was Christmas, and we went through Christmas, and then we were away for a week in February, and on the 20th of February, that was actually the time that I saw the endocrinologist for the first time. And then I had all the tests, and then my family came, and then we started our problems with the medical aid. My medical aid said no from the beginning. They won't prescribe it, and they're not going to pay for it. I then went to one of the trustees of our medical aid. I was working on the gold mines, and we had our special own medical aid. And I spoke to one of the trustees. The trustees said, no, sorry, we don't know anything about it. Maybe speak to the chairman. Luckily, the chairman at that point of time, he was in the same office area as I was. So I tried to make an appointment, and I couldn't get hold of him. And then one day, he said, sorry, Fester, I was away for a while, and I only see now that you were looking to see me. You come to my office and we can have a chat. And I went to him and I told him about it. And he said to me, okay, go back to your office, put it all on an email, and we'll go from there. Then about a week later, he called me and I said, please come to my office. I went to his office. He said to me, just sit there. And he phoned the medical aid, the manager there, and he said to her, listen, this case, because what happens if they've got like big cases, every 3 months they all sit and have they discuss the problem, and then they decide whether they're going to assist with medical treatment and all those kind of things. And he phoned her and he said to her, you don't wait for this meeting to happen. You escalate this and you start it immediately. So immediately I got that. So that was about in 2020, 12. But my doctor said, it's so bad that I should go on a 40 milligram. And they said, no, I'm going to start with the lowest, which is a 10 milligram. I started the 10 milligram and went for tests. When I had the blood tests, the IGF-1, it was still in the 900s. It should be between 94, I think, and 200 and something. I'm not so sure about that now. It was 900. Then I would go home and sit on the chair and cry by my mom every 6 months. It went on for I don't know how many years. But afterwards, we managed to get the 20 milligram. I was on the 20 milligram and it came down to 700. And then after the 20 milligram, it wouldn't go away. It was still not what it should be. So in the end, we managed to get them to give me the highest dose, which is 40 milligram. So I get my sandostatin every 28 days. The 40 milligram from a sister here in my town. Sorry, I've had a terrible cold. I have been on that now for quite a long time, and it's now in the normal zone, so I don't have those headaches anymore. But what's now happening is that the sandostatin is making, it gives you other problems. Like I now have very bad osteoporosis. So I've broken my hip and I had to have an operation. And then after that, first I fell on my back, in my bathroom, and I broke 3 vertebrae. Then I broke my my hip. And after my hip, I'm just now trying to be very careful with it. Although I've had an X-ray the other day, and apparently the hip is not completely healed, and it's now more than a year.
Sure, Vesta. So sorry, we just have to. I'm just looking at time, but it's all the side effects of the medication that people don't necessarily think about. And I think it's something that's really important that our doctors need to be aware of, and the general public. It's not just our medication that's trying to fix our condition or help to manage our condition, but it's also all the side effects that come with that. And then the smarty box of medication that we take to try and contraindicate those side effects. It really is, it's a tricky situation, but I really appreciate you sharing your story and being so open and honest. And I think something that you said about being able to reach out to someone in your community, it's such a stark reminder of how important it is to have that support system and to have someone that you can talk to. And when you say I'm having a bad day, they understand what that bad day means. They understand when you're happy, when you're celebrating, but also when you're sad and you want to just stay under the covers. I really appreciate you coming and telling your story to everyone tonight. Can I just ask for Julianne, would you mind putting on your video again? And then I'm just going to see if any questions come through. And ladies, is there anything, any parting thoughts that you would like to leave us with? Any words of encouragement? I think also not only for patients, but for caregivers, because I think they really are often the unsung heroes. Vesta, you talk about your mum quite a bit, and what an absolute strength she has been to you. So what would you like to say to all the people like your mum out there? What is something that you would really like to put out there?
Yeah, it's like if you sort of, what was that? I don't know. If you're open and about it, and you tell your friends, then they realize, okay, and the 28th day, like my family and my friends, I say, I'm going for my injections. Then my mom says, okay, go for your injections, but remember to go and lie down for 2 or 3 days so that you can feel better after that. And yeah, so everybody knows when I'm going to my injections that I'm not well, and that I'm just going to have spend a little bit of time by myself and in my bedroom. And all the friends and people that I have, and my sons, they both know that I have to look after myself, and that I am really a little bit of a porcelain doll, and I can't now enjoy my grandkids going down the slides at the pools and the stuff, going with them. And I have to just sit on the side and watch them. And yeah, you must be open about it. If you're not open about it, some people do say, what's wrong with this person? Why is she like this? Like, especially when I was still working on a Friday, they would go to a pub and go and have a drink. And then I would say, listen, people, I can't go, I can't join you. I am not going with. And they couldn't understand it. But when it was somebody's birthday, I said, okay, I'll come. You can order me an appetizer. I'll have an appetizer. So that is the way that I just sort of let them know I have got this thing, and I must look after myself, and I must treat myself well. But there's something I want to show you, that this bangles that I have, I've got 14 of them. And in 2007, it was my son's wedding, and I could still wear them. But now, look where it is, where it's sitting. I can't even get it over my... I was knuckles. Really, really very petite. There's a ring. I took my rings in to have them 4 sizes, made them 4 sizes bigger. And after that, I stopped trying to make them bigger. I just don't wear rings anymore. So,
thank you, Vesta. Thank you for showing us that visual representation. I think that really helps people to actually see it. We've just got a question in, and Julia, I was wondering if you would mind answering it. How has the treatment changed your life?
I think it's great to be able to have the treatment. I think it's a real privilege, even though it's very expensive. because as Vesta described before treatment, that you really don't feel great. There's like sweating, headaches. And I think also the fear of what is happening to your body. Things can go wrong. They recommend that we go for colonoscopies every year to check for polyps, possible developments of cancer, and so on. So when you are on treatment, I think you've got peace of mind, that you know that it's under control, and that you're not in fear of what it's going to do to you. So I think from that aspect, the treatment has really helped. And I think it is worrying knowing, do I have to be on this for the rest of my life? But if you do, well, that's just the way things are. It is giving you quality of life and enabling us to live a good life without it going out of control. I just think if you look at those, you see old photographs of people who are disfigured. There's a support group I belong to, and you can see like women who entered competitions of being the ugliest woman on the planet and things like that, and they all suffered from acromegaly. So having treatment, it stops the insidious development of the disease, that you don't have to land up like that one day. So yes, I think it has, and especially for women and your self-esteem and your body image and so on, I think having treatments, I think that's the fear when I see how much I've changed. Like Vesta showed, when you see these changes in your body, but I think with the treatment, you know that it's under control, which is great.
I love your positivity, and I just have to say both of you ladies are absolutely beautiful. So please don't ever think that you ever need to even consider a competition like that, because you are gorgeous. And I think your bravery just shines through. I got goosebumps as both of you were telling your stories, because I think it is so important to speak about these things and to create awareness, because the general public doesn't know, and they don't know what it's like when you can't wear your rings anymore, or when suddenly your feet don't fit into your shoes, or when you're in pain, or you are physically seeing the changes to your body, and there's not really a lot that you can do. You can take the treatment, but it's still going to happen. So I just want to say both of you are brave and beautiful, and it is such an honor to have you here speaking to everyone and creating awareness. So thank you so much. Julie, are there any parting thoughts that you have for people who are listening to this, or any words of advice for people who are battling to get a diagnosis or who have recently been diagnosed?
I think, just keep, if you, like you said earlier, I think your gut tells you that something is wrong, so to keep going. But we, in South Africa, we do have good endocrinologists. I also go to someone at the Wits Donald Gordon. So there are people that know about it. I think when I belong to a Facebook group for acromegalics around the world, I'm quite confident in South Africa because we've been well treated, even in comparison to the States and so on. So I think that's a very big positive about South Africa. I just also think we shouldn't let a disease define us. It's not who you are. It's just something that you need to cope with and live with on the edge, just like anything else in life we have to overcome. So we shouldn't really be defined by it.
That is beautiful. Absolutely. We are not our disease. There's so much more to us. There's more to Vesta. There's more to Julianne. There's more to all of us. It is not the thing that we should be defined by. We shouldn't be Julianne, the sick one, or Vesta with a rare condition, because there is so much more to us. We are brave, strong women. Can you tell that I'm so proud of you guys? I'm all riled up. I think it's amazing. And I just want to really thank you again. Just checking if any more questions have come through. I don't see anything. But ladies, I just want to really, really thank you for your time, for your bravery, and for really working to create awareness and break the stigma surrounding all of this. And a big shout out to your families who have been there supporting you, your family and your friends. I think they are really special people as well. And and people often don't realize how it can affect the whole family unit. They think about the patient that's been diagnosed, but they forget about the mother whose daughter is now sick, or the husband, or the kids whose mother now has a rare condition. So I'd really like to give a huge thanks to your families and friends that have stood by your side and encouraged you and kept you going through all of this. And ladies, thank you again. And hopefully we'll chat again soon. Thank you for taking the time out of your evening. So Vesta, we've just got a message from Christoffel and says, we are so proud of our mom and grandma Vesta and thankful for her every day. Love you lots like jelly tots. And I think that is what family is, right? They're those people that send those funny messages that can get us laughing when all we want to do is cry. And so I'd really like to end this not only recognizing you as warriors, but also your families for being the biggest support that you could ever have. So thank you to everyone. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the comments on Facebook. We can then pass them on to Vesta and Julianne. And have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.